Well, with keeping that in mind, I know plenty of writers that are men that, will say the same thing that you said. Like they've got a lot of women in their life that are really important to them and they'll try to look at things through their lens. I think it's also really important that when you have an idea and you have a storyline, don't just think about how they would handle it. Talk to them.
Hey guys, welcome to Inside Comics with George Michail. Really quick, if you like this kind of content, make sure you're subscribing and you're telling your community about it. Today, I'm joined by Murphey. She's a writer, editor-in-chief at MERC Magazine, and she has a Kickstarter out for her Miss Meow series. And yeah. So Murphy, thank you so much for being on the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me back.
So before we get into the Kickstarter, I want to talk about writing strong female characters. Miss Meow is kind of a badass, and I want to kind of get your take on what's important when a writer, especially if maybe you're a male comic book writer and you're trying to put this together and you're trying to write a tough lady. What's important to kind of keep in mind?
I think it's something that every character that is well written and like fully realized has like struggles. And I think it's too easy for that struggle to just be like love or romantic and things like that. And I think exploring kind of other avenues of life really kind of helps make your strong female character really come across that way. And having skills that they've like really worked hard and like making characters that work hard and have something that they're like really focusing on and that they're trying to achieve that's not like a relationship sort of storyline, I really is important.
When I first had my daughter, when we first found out, we did like a little gender reveal thing. We had like the cake and it was pink on the inside. And I was so certain that it was going to be a boy. I was like, oh, we're going to have a boy. And then when I saw that pink, I was like, oh no, like, what am I going to do? Like, I don't know how to, raise a little girl. And my wife said, just treat her like a boy. Just kind of, all the things that you want to do with her, just do them with her. And, so she's in parkour and she reads comics and stuff like that. It wasn't smooth, like at first she was just, we had a lot of tea parties and I was like, oh, look at these superheroes. Aren't these cool? And she's like breaking out like her little China set and, we're doing that. But at the end of the day, we're all just people, right? And we're all just relating with each other. And it doesn't really so much matter. Like, I think one thing, like, so I have a couple books where, women are like the main characters and I try and take like the voices, like all the most important people in my life are women. I've got my wife, my mother-in-law, my mom, my daughter, my cousin Crystal. That's like the tightest people to me. So I have these women's voices in my mind often, and so I can draw from that. But I think when you're writing like comic books, it's important to realize that what is strength, right? So like for me, like, bravery is doing something that needs to be done despite if it's dangerous or scary. It's not like just being like super like macho, to use like a outdated term, and like not being afraid of the consequences. That's just kind of dumb. It's doing what needs to be done despite the danger to it. And I think if you have a character that does that, that's a strong character that puts others before themselves.
But especially too, I think something that people will fall into is that strength means you have no fear. And it's the complete opposite. Strength means that you feel you have that fear, but you're able to surpass it and push through it and carry it with you, but still do what you need to do.
Yeah. And that doesn't mean that you can't be vulnerable and you can't be scared and you can't cry or you can't like that. That's not what the character is. A character is someone that is as close to a real person as you can imagine, and you're putting that out there in a genuine way. And I think sometimes, and writers can be guilty of like trying to, to make this hero, I'm gonna make her like a tomboy, or she's she's only gonna wear pants or something like that. That doesn't have anything to do with it. Like you can wear dresses, and you can like pink, and you can do your nails, and you can also be tough and strong. It's not one or the other.
Oh yeah, I mean that's like the embodiment of Miss Meow. She's got her whole thing is pink. She's pink everything. But she's also a badass, and it's like you can be feminine and strong at the same time. And that also doesn't mean, to make a female character come across as cool, like you don't making her less feminine has nothing to do with that.
What's something that you try and do when you're like just figuring out who your character is?
Well, I think something about, writing a strong character or writing, any characters is you really need to know the person. So it's like, starting from the very basics of like, what are they, what's their personality? Are they kind or are they cold? Are they, all of these, like asking those questions about who they are as a person. And then when you bring them into situations where they would need strength, where do they pull that from? Where in their personality that you've created does that strength come from? And then that'll kind of help you be able to build how they would deal in hard situations, because someone who is kind might deal with this very differently, like deal with a bad situation where other people are involved differently than someone who's cold. You can be kind and cold, both of those can be good people, but they're going to handle a situation differently. And I think really kind of just having a all around person in your head is always going to be, you're going to have an easier time figuring out what they're going to do in any given situation.
Sometimes when I'm writing characters, I like to think of someone I know, and then maybe like cross that with like a typical character that you might see, and like maybe it's whatever, Hulk Hogan meets like my friend Luke, who's like a pastor, and just kind of putting those two characters together, those two personalities, and create something new, and kind of having like a real person in your mind. How would my sister, how would my girlfriend, how would my crazy ex-girlfriend, how would they handle the situation, and then like kind of go from there.
Well, with keeping that in mind, I know plenty of writers that are men that, will say the same thing that you said. Like they've got a lot of women in their life that are really important to them, and they'll try to look at things through their lens. I think it's also really important that when you have an idea and you have a storyline, don't just think about how they would handle it. Talk to them, because I have, our other writer at MERC is a guy, and, he'll write, and he kind of has that same thing. He's really close with his mom. And so he would kind of write like, this is what I think she would do. But then when you put it in like through the actual lens of being a woman, sometimes we'll be like, actually, no, it might be better if we try this, and really not just putting yourself in the mindset of the women that but actually talk to the women that and let them kind of help you like really make sure that situationally it's correct.
So Miss Meow, this is issue 4.
Mm-hmm.
So you've been writing this character for a while. Can you tell me what about her is endearing, and why people should pick up this series?
So Miss Meow is smart. This character is the foundation of the MERC universe, and it's because she is smart. She's the only one that stands up against the organization that pretty much runs everything, and it's because she has the ability to say like, I'm not going to do it your way, I'm going to do it my way, and actually be successful doing that. And she's also punny. I know that doesn't like, I don't know if that makes her endearing to everybody, but I really personally enjoy that part of writing it, that she's smart and she's very serious in a lot of ways, but she's like, she'll always kind of like throw people off by just making little jokes, and it's always cat puns. And I don't, when you read the first couple issues, you're going to find out that, she didn't call herself Miss Meow for herself. She called herself Miss Meow for a friend that she thought had died. And so her leaning so far into the cat thing is not because she's just silly and loves cats. It's every time that she makes a cat pun or says something, that it's cat related. It's the memory of her friend coming out in those jokes.
With this current Kickstarter, issue 4, you can get all 3 issues that led up to this, and the 4th issue as well. And can you tell me about some of the artists that you have involved right now in this project?
Oh yeah. So we've got Cyrus Romains is a brand new artist. He actually had his first ever cover was on the Catfight versus Naughty and Nice crossover that we just did last month. He is incredibly talented, and I think that, I mean, you're going to see him all over the place when it comes to indie comics here this year. Paolo Pentalena has working on a series of covers for us. He did one for Miss Meow, 3, and then there was another one on Death Rage number 3.
And what's the obstacle that Miss Meow is going up against in this series? Like, who's the antagonist?
So the series, she has been hunting the helmet of Leonidas. She knows that it's powerful. She doesn't know why yet, but she's been trying to get her hands on it. But Catfight is her pretty much her main villain, and so this this first 6-issue set is pretty much it's her versus Catfight. And she has this goal that she's trying to get, and Catfight is just consistently getting in the way.
Awesome! I can't wait to see what happens next in the MERC universe and with Miss Meow issue 4. And I encourage everyone to check out this project, go back this book. And Murphy, I want to thank you for being on Inside Comics.
Thanks for having me again.
Peace.